I see that more people are coming back to the lab from their long-winded adventures. It is a good thing to leave and come back from time to time to let your soul exit yourself for a little while your brain goes on autopilot and just drifts along this world for a few hours. I like to wander because it is a good thing for my legs and for my mental health, rather than taking pills or going to the doctors or therapists to cool down and not worry about the little things in life and only worry about what is in front of you. Think about life as a circle and then a square, always changing and whipping around at speeds we can never see, all the planets that we have discovered, all the... Cough cough, I'm getting a little off track, but what I am saying is that you can think about your problems by yourself, because you could talk to a million people about certain topics that we keep hushed down and out because it makes us look weak, powerless, that we think with our emotions too much. Everyone likes to run to someone because they think that this one person can help you through everything rather than working it out yourself. I have seen too many people in my side of the lab commit suicide, feel like their lives do not mean anything because they have been here for too long, so they harm themselves with unknown vials and other deadly pots. I want to make this clear every day. I want to see self-love here at least every other day, even if it is for just an hour, a day, or just a week. I do not know why it is a common thing to you to shill and shake your way through life because someone told us that our thoughts do not matter, that we would be better off in a loony bin because of the things that we are doing here. Nookwill Labs, in my humble fact, is a freedom place to be greater than you could ever be in society, rather than reliving days in and out, wishing for something to happen. I would like to say that I can give people a chance to strive to be a better scientist, rather than gutting your life away because you are at an age where your imagination does not matter anymore. I would like to have these conversations because maybe I am right on some things and wrong on others, but it will make you think a little more about what the motives and struggles you have and how to deal with them. Many things seem to be a blessing when we are not taken by them, rather than searching for a meaning for why we have them. For example, I am still a child learning to walk through life on my own pace, but I still see the shiny projects and whimsical grounds that I can play with day after day, to dance in the rain, to cry at night thinking about things that have less meaning than seeds. Growing up is a slow and weird process regardless, and you will have to change with the surroundings enough to see where you fit in and where you can achieve your own personal goals and dreams. I do not like to change that much because I feel like if I do that I will lose hope and love in myself, and be another carbon copy of someone else rather than walking down the path that I have created. My father has always said that if you want peace then you will want war, and war is the opposite of peace, rather than silence is the opposite of loudness, and I would love to change and move into a place of silence when my mind is filled with too many things. I realize that mental health is important for us all, whether it be night and day, black and white, or just left and right. But I would like to walk with you all and see where your heads are at, and if you still want to be a part of Nookwill Labs for the foreseeable future. I always wonder why people say that life is so hard, why life is so unfair. You do realize that you still have a long life to live and can change that outcome at any time. I could care less about someone saying that I cannot do something because of my stature, or my limited abilities, or my doll-like face creeps out, or even lessens my words because of how my body looks. Even though I am of a young age, that still does not mean that I cannot understand and learn the things that make makes my days relaxing. Feeling the weight off of my shoulders every day, I walk away from the experiments, from all the screams and helpless questions and such that sometimes comes from my wing. But I can say without a doubt that life is not hard. It is a difficult thing to grasp, with turns and burns along every road. The highs and lows of everybody is to be cherished rather than hated. To be alive is to struggle, but to survive long enough where the struggle seems blissful is wonderful. Can anyone really know what to do here? Listening to the raindrops and people conversate while they walk back home, just breathing in and out to the silence that we have gained for a time. A wanderer's walk that makes our bodies light as a feather, observing life as one thick line stretching out for what seems like a lifetime. To see the cats, dogs, birds, raccoons, and all other animals move with no wicked thoughts. To end off that day with nothing but green swirling through your mind and then lay there, motionless. I would love for all of us to go to an actual forest, rather than the Zolga forest, and just have nature rush through our bones, to guide us through this modern time of death, of destruction, through the hard times and leading us to the life tree, where we can dance and be ourselves rather than having a mask of another person to play with, rather than let our true beings walk the earth. For example, Jukul is just hands and eyes and a mouth, but people who have seen her actual form would cower in fear, would go insane from the thought that she is a living, breathing thing, calling her a monster hell-bent on murder. I saw bits and pieces before she was disassembled. You do remember that she did not like Shadow because he told her that he had a place where she could go to be her true self, and she could make and break anything and everything as she wanted. And she took that idea and made everyone else the same way. Themselves. But she also hated that she thought he was getting her away from people, to make her feel like she was nothing, like all the other people made her feel. Ugly, weird, and many other things that angered her. That is why she called him an insolent piece of shit. But she also knew that he was right on some things, because she could never be herself on the outside. Too many things shut down our own goals and dreams because people do not like us. So they kill them off and lock the doors of our imaginations and push you another way. I always hated that I would have to go to school because of my mother. And my father knew that very well. That is why he gave me a very special dagger on that day. It was a cool evening on a Sunday when I called my mother home because I have broken my ankle and needed medical help. I remember vividly that she helped me to my feet and made me stand behind her so I could have a little bit of balance. Then I stabbed her to death. Over and over I stabbed, slashed and cut off many things with such joy. I heard her gurgle on her own blood as she looked defeated on why her own daughter would kill her. I just wanted to play alone in the field, watching the birds sing and swoop around my head, to hear the leaves crunch like her head did when I stomped on it. But then Father came and took me away, leaving her body to rot and turn into a pile of mush of forgotten death. I remember that he took my bloodied hands after he realized that the book was not there anymore, that I could not be seen anymore as an innocent daughter to him, but a killer with no guilt, a killer with no face, a killer with only one parent to love them. And as he took my hand and led me away from her dead corpse, I licked my fingers and gave the dagger back to him, and he cleaned, sharpened, and hilted it to my own hands, then gave it back in. A book of blood. I know walking around the rain might unravel your thoughts a bit, but I want to know what you all think back in my room. Little by little your minds will swell and seep, but until then a calm ringing is here. Now that we are back in my room, we can talk about the highs and lows of life. So which one would like to go first?
Let me just fix my bow tie for a second. There we go. I realize that many things in my life have gone right and wrong on both sides. I can invest my money and live freely in my own home that I bought years ago. And I can be at peace sometimes because of the animals that live and move around the area. But I always wanted to be like a fox, silky and menaceful. But I have gotten into trouble because I like to kill other animals without remorse.
Well, killing is not wrong or right on either side, but it is who you kill is the main problem. For example, I can murder 1,000 people a day and they would haul me away and call me a monster, the devil in sheep's clothing, and all the other cheesy one-liners they have for those sorts of people, rather than you wear a certain suit, have a certain job, or they could care less if people went missing, and they know exactly who did it. The main reason I say it is not right or wrong is because I see it as this, you do or you do not. That choice is up to you, and you can think about it all through life and feel sorry that you stabbed, beaten, acidized, or even gutted someone through life, forgetting religion and morals, and everything else rather than the opposite. But I have always explored those itchings in my mind. Either way, that is why I am here, and or why I roam around the world to kill those who need it, or those who have no meaning to their life anymore. I always hear justice thrown around like a whore at frat parties, bumbling around, getting railed by everyone and everything. And by the end it does not really mean much. What is justice to you?
I think that justice is sometimes good because people do bad things in the world and need to be hailed and sentenced for their crimes. But on the other side we have the death penalty, live in prison, certain things that confide you to your local area and home, rather than moving freely as you please. I would say banish those people and let someone else take care of them, rather than make them more corrupt going to prison. I remember a time when people wanted to help each other regardless of what they did, but hospitals have turned into insane asylums. Jails have turned into rape-infested gangs that could care less about you nor themselves. I thought that jail was supposed to be a medicine, helping people never do the things they were sentenced for again and guide them to a brighter and long-lasting life. Now it is knife wounds, gang rivals, and short, lustful beatings. Because they have certain charges that they do not like. But it amazes me that there are still prisons above all else.
I do not think it is the prisons, rather than the labels we give to people, and we either run with it, or we actually look at the facts and judge them off of what they did. I realize I have been introduced to lying under oath, to make up and shame other people, because you do not have the same voices that they have, that you are not leaning left or right quickly with no evidence, and just making your thoughts known. People get killed every day, and it is wrong, because the people in power say that it is wrong, and yet they seem to kill people in plain view, and no one does anything about it. But if we stop calling people out and cast them into cages like animals, then we as a human race need to look back at what the purpose was when we made those lines. I do not really think that there is good and bad. Society has taught us that we can live freely as we can, rather than as we want. I would say simply that it is half and half due to greed and the willingness for more things, more houses, more cars, clothes, and many other materials that we could make ourselves.
You are right about that on some level. We can live freely as we can and stop wanting everything because someone told you, you must have this or you must buy these things because such and such. I have made my clothes for years and I am still acquiring skills, like archery for food. purifying the water around me, making my little island feel like home away from home. But I think that words and actions can be twisted and turned to fit a plot rather than a story. And that action is what kills people when riots start happening, when they do not have the full story, or a story at all, and choose to have chaos roam the streets like wildfire.
I think that people need to do research and find out the true facts about something before they have an uproar of destruction and rage. Too many times throughout history, dumb people have sieged, rioted, and even pillaged because the opposite does not want to solve an easy problem. Now let me be clear, if you give someone something that they want for free, they will never know the value of that item. But if you had them work for it hour after hour, day after day, then they would learn to not collapse a whole nation because of idiotic emotions.
You both have a great grasp on basic knowledge and how to obtain it through exploration rather than gutted actions. But while I like having these talks from time to time, I would like to relax and study some more books to further understand things. But you all at any time can go to the library whenever something does not sound right, when you need another angle to broaden your minds. So until then, I say goodbye.
Goodbye, Giiga.
Goodbye, Giiga.
And to you all listening, I will assume high hopes and thoughts from you for the future. It is not always wise to go without a blueprint, rather than at least a strategy in mind that can change like a chameleon. Realize that life happens no matter what you do with it. But I will say one simple idea: stop, think, and observe, and most things will become easier to grasp and understand.